pretty much everybody is a real estate investor. Now, whether you're getting that return or the actual owner investor is getting that return, you're investing. You're paying rent. You're still an investor.
Man, everybody is a real estate investor, whether you are paying a mortgage for yourself or you're paying it for your landlord. That is the
In today's episode, we're going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to talk to a buddy of mine, client of mine, Byron Needum. And we're going to talk about his journey going from first-time home buyer to accidental landlord to very intentional investor. He owns about 11 properties now, and it's just a really cool story. And this is especially for my military guys, my VA guys out there. He started using his VA loan at first and then worked his way up to a lifestyle that provides for him after retirement. So hope you enjoyed the convo, and as usual, learn the game and take up space. I'll see you guys on the other side.
Who I talk to, who I end up like actually having conversations with the most are people that want to start their investment journey.
Okay.
And it's people who realize that where they are, they're in the military, they have some opportunities, they have their career in front of them, but they also see like a lot of the people we were talking about, EYL and MG, the more like they see these people online talking about it. And what's the other one where they talk about house hacking all the time? Bigger Pockets.
Bigger Pockets,
Yeah. They see those platforms and it inspires them to want to like really go down that journey. Well, I that's why I'm asking you to come here today, because you, one, don't have anything to sell anybody.
No.
And you were them at one point in time. You were active duty guy, you're now retired, and you have a beautiful real estate investment portfolio. And I think where you are now is where a lot of them would love to be. And I think where you are right now is such a realistic goal for anybody who is in that position right now. So can we start by having you can you tell me how many years you were in service and what you did?
Let's see. I did about 25 years active duty. Because I enlisted, say, early 90s with the plan of being in the Army for 2 years. And because I enlisted for the GI Bill and College Fund, because I wanted the money for college to go to school for my education. Because back then, if you think minimum wage is low now, it was even lower back then. So trying to do those type jobs as well as pay for college it looked like it was going to be an impossible feat. And I didn't want a lot of student loan debt where I am right now. So I enlisted for the GI Bill and the College Fund. It was supposed to be 2 years. But then one of my buddies came to me probably my second year in. And with this opportunity was, the Army has this program called Green to Gold, where you go from enlisted and have the opportunity to earn a commission as a second lieutenant. So I was enlisted, say mid-90s, and probably 2 years later, I was a second lieutenant going to flight school. So I was a mechanic for the first 2 years, wheel mechanic, wrecker operator. And then when I graduated commission, I went to flight school, then Fort Rucker, I think it's now Novacell. So I was there for about a year and a half, 2 years before going to Germany with my first duty station as a lieutenant. Was there for like 3 years. Fast forward back to the States. My first stateside after school was then Fort Hood, now Fort Cavazos. That's kind of what got me into Killeen and into this space. And then I already had the idea of I wanted to buy a house when I got here. And that kind of comes from guys that have been in, like, I'm talking like Vietnam veterans. They were telling me, hey, this is what you want to do. And so I was just doing these things, not thinking, years later I was going to be investing in anything. They had already done it, or they were either out or on their way out, after 35, 40 years of service. So it made sense for me to listen to what they were telling me. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it started. I started as like the, what do you call it? The accidental landlord, or, because it's like I bought a house and I plan on that being my house for the next 30 years. But
Mm.
I'm not going to leave you sitting still for 20 years. So when they sent me to school, I rented that house out. And then over the years, even coming back here for a brief period of time, because there was quite a few deployments between me being here, like I was probably here 8 years out of that 25, and probably 3 or 4 I was somewhere else, but my stuff was here.
Mm.
So, but while you still own that house, and if you rent it out, it's still continuing to, uh, the mortgage is being paid by the tenant. The what is it? The appreciation is happening. All these things are happening while you're doing other things. So your time is spent. Yeah, you owe the army. You're deployed. You've got a job to do. But that house is working every day.
Yep.
And real estate is doing this thing, this magical compounding that you're not really. I didn't really pay attention to it toward the end of my career, and I was like, wait a minute, this thing is kind of paying for itself. So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of prompted me. This wasn't my idea that once I retire, I was going to do these certain things or invest like this. It's just looking at it toward the end of my career that made me see that, okay, this is a possibility, because, and not to live off of, it's more so once you married and you start having children, you're thinking about the next generation.
Yeah.
Okay, where are they starting?
Yeah.
So how are you going to generate generational wealth? Because I can't give my rank or my job to, say, my son or my daughter to carry on. They come into the army, they just got to start over. Now I can give them this, and they can just take where I leave it and make it better.
Wow. You said a lot, man. You said there were so many little gems in there that I want to make sure that we pull out. One was you listen to the OGs who was telling you when you get back stateside, you get that first assignment, buy a house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did they tell you use your VA loan?
I believe he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And I did.
And you did. I was gonna say, and did you? Yeah.
Yes.
And so you came back, used your VA loan. Ooh, what was the interest rate on that loan? Do you remember?
Uh, it's similar to now. I believe it was like 6.75 or something like that. Because I
I
think it was,
say that.
and I brought it down because I paid points, but I believe it was 6.75. And this was 2002.
Nice. Yeah. And so I say that because I do know like how far back that was, and everything's cyclical. And so I think it's important for people to know like
Oh,
the interest rates you see now, we've
yeah.
seen
Mm-hmm.
before.
Yes.
And people purchased their house during those times and did the one thing. It's the only one trick to real estate. It's one thing. You just hold it. You buy it and you hold it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do. There's not a whole lot of craziness in between.
Yes.
We'll get into the actual craziness that happens in between, but you buy it and you hold it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you started. You bought it, you held it, and like you said, accidental landlord. You didn't know that you were gonna be a landlord.
No.
What prompted you to hold on to the house rather than sell it as soon as you were gonna go to the next news station?
Um, it just seemed like an investment that was made for the future, and I needed to hold it for
Mm-hmm.
the future. And like I said, listening to those guys that came before me, like I'm talking, these guys were like Vietnam era veterans, and they had solid rental portfolios, but I didn't really know
Mm-hmm.
what they had. They were just telling me things, and I'm listening. I didn't know, he had properties in 5 different states. We didn't talk about any of that. He just said you should do this, so I did that.
Yeah, and then it was what we're gonna flash forward to you being on your way out. It was the reality of what
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
that sold you on. Oh, I need to do more of this.
Yes, because I had at the time when I got ready to retire, I think I had 3 doors. It was like let's say a duplex in that same house,
Mm.
and I really didn't. People try to like level up, and you want to live a certain lifestyle. I never changed my lifestyle, so those houses
Mm.
were taking care of themselves. And
Mm.
so once I actually paid attention to that as I was getting ready to retire, I'm like, okay, I can replicate and I can do this again with more focus on the real estate. And while being in the military, what you don't realize is, how it's like right now as a realtor, you got to network and build this team, all these people. I built a network and I didn't even know it because I
Mm.
was in the army and guys that you see this unit back here, uh, guys that are retired, they're here and they became realtors, lenders. They were doing maintenance. They were doing all these things. So once I retired, I already had a network to work this portfolio without trying to build a big team. The team was already there.
Man, that's powerful. That's another thing that we don't really think about is all the people that you work alongside in your
Yeah.
military career. There's an opportunity for you to work alongside them later, after you hang up the uniform.
Oh yeah.
And I wanna touch back on another thing you said was kind of watching the real estate do its magic. There is the appreciation over time, right? Like
Hmm.
typically, home values are gonna go up over the long term. Like they might take a dip here and there. Obviously, you held that house through 2008 and all of the stuff that happened then,
Yeah.
but typically, it's gonna appreciate. The other thing that we don't really talk about is the fact that there is a loan that you have for this asset, and somebody is essentially paying that loan back on your behalf by being the tenant. And
Yeah.
all of that money is stored in the asset. It's
Yeah.
stored now in the house. And then there's the cash flow. Like,
Yeah.
and typically the cash flow should be like the last thing that you focus on, especially if you're like buying with your VA loan. Like you might see $100 a month, $200 a month, something like
Exactly.
that. But
Yeah.
even then, like you're probably gonna have to reinvest that back into the property
Yes.
because
Yes.
can you speak to can you speak to some of those realities of owning real estate, being a landlord, and like you can't just set it and forget it?
Yo, yeah. Because you're going to. Well, I know they have this term slumlord. That's not what you want to
Mm.
be, because your investment, though it'll take care of you in the long run, you've got to take care of it over the years. Because if you
Mm.
don't make sure that it's maintained, the whether it's the roof, the plumbing, whatever, all that money is coming in. Yeah, if there's something extra, you're usually going to spend that on that asset.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to continue to. It's not like, okay, now I've got this house and they pay the rent, which is paying the loan, and now you're balling. That's not how this works. Not at all.
Yeah, it's and we talked about this a little bit. You are making the decision to buy the property right now for your 50-year-old self, for your 60-year-old self, or for your children whenever you're either here or not here. Because a lot of times the kids ain't doing what you would hope they would have done, and they need a place to stay, and you don't want them in your house.
Yeah.
So being able, being able to put them in there is another benefit. But it is you in the present taking care of future you
Yes.
and the future generations. So it
Oh,
might be painful now.
mhm.
Another thing you touched on was you didn't go balling out. You didn't try to upgrade. You live at a very manageable level. You weren't going to get 3,000 square feet because you didn't need it.
No, no. Uh, it was, what was manageable. Whatever I needed is what I purchased or I stuck with. I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and even in the investment phase, I didn't look for big luxurious houses or houses far out. I was looking at, one, how could I help maintain a certain neighborhood, and
Mm.
while keeping this house in good enough order where people would want to live there. But because even at say one house at a time. I have a small property over near Fort Hood Street, but the neighborhood is mature. But if you take care of those small houses, those people that live there, they take pride in their neighborhood. But if you try to be a slumlord, you're just trying to live off the money. That's really not. It's not going to last
Yep. You get a good tenant, they're not going anywhere. If
long.
you
No.
take care of them, they're gonna take care of you in the long run.
Oh yeah, because everybody, pretty much everybody, is a real estate investor. Now, whether you're getting that return or the actual owner investor is getting that return, you're investing. You're paying rent. You're still an investor.
Man, everybody is a real estate investor. Whether you are paying a mortgage for yourself or you're paying it for your landlord, that's a drop the mic moment. And that is the most powerful thing that we've said on this talk is you're in the game whether you want to be in it or not.
Yeah.
So
Figure out which
why
side.
not control your destiny?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, that's huge. So kind of putting a bow on this. How many properties do you have now?
Right now, 10. I think it's 10.
10?
Yeah.
10? Are we working on 11 right now? Or is that number 10? Is it 10? So
We're working on 11.
yeah, so me and Byron doing a deal now, and we met via the channel, and we got a pretty solid deal for him. So that's 11 properties is massive. Are they all in Killeen, or are you got any elsewhere?
Killeen, Coppers Cove, and Dallas.
Killeen, Coppers Cove, and Dallas, so all Texas.
Yeah, everything in Texas. Because I'm from Texas.
Beautiful. Yeah. He's like, so I want to own a piece of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, since I'm coming back here, I might as well own here. I mean, Vice, and even I almost purchased in El Paso back when I was stationed there, but man, it's like a 11-hour drive from here just to get there. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, I don't know about that.
that's something to think about too. So another question: how many properties did you accumulate while you were still active?
It was really two. It was three doors. It was a house and a duplex. That was it.
You only had two out of
Yeah.
that whole career. You only had two, and now that you're retired, how long you been retired?
5 years.
5 years, and now you have 10.
Yeah. But
That's phenomenal.
within like the first, I think 4 months after retirement, I think I had five more. So it was like seven. But it was,
Wow.
again, it was the network that was in place.
Network.
And I was calling and making contact with guys that I've been deployed with that are realtors here. That I hit the ground. Probably a weekend, I had two under contract. So
Wow.
it was almost immediate, like post retirement landing coming from Germany here, that the portfolio started growing.
So your network is really your network
Correct.
in this sense. Like it
True.
was your network that got you there. And it was also 18 years of patience
Yeah.
for you to hold on to what you got, buy the ones that you want, and live in a reasonable place. Hold on to what you got, not be in a rush to have 5, 10, 15, 20. Wait until you got to that. We talked about this before, but wait until you got to that season.
Yeah.
And you weren't in the season of your life where you could have all those properties and it not be stressful. Stressful as all get out probably while you're trying to actively be in the military.
Yeah, if you're active duty, you're in the army, you don't really have time to focus on like this other thing, which I'm glad because I didn't have time to focus on real estate. You're in the military, you've got it's life and death. So you gotta be present in your current job. You have a job to do, and that's primary. Well, like we were talking earlier, because it takes so much. I mean, it takes away from time with your family. Just like I said, the vet when I was a private, he told me that he was 20 years. He was retired, he was a Vietnam vet, and he said that you've got to pay attention Well, he mainly focused on getting to know your family. He says if you don't get to know them in those 20 years, they don't want to get to know you after that 20.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of helped you to, you need to be present for, yes, your family, but you've got a primary job and career, which is being in the military. And that was 24/7. So
Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't just focus on, this house or these tenants or so also having the property management and good property management can help you. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to sleep because somebody's tearing your house up.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then you got to deal with that problem.
Yep. Yep. Man, I love that. So, for us to not hold people here for too long, I want to make sure one thing is like, if is there any central message, where there is real estate or not related, that you want to get across to the younger generation that's coming up, that's got these opportunities in front
Uh, I guess just be bold and take the opportunities that are presented to
of
you,
them?
uh, because those are the regrets that you don't want, the opportunities that you didn't take. I don't think anybody, you know, 20 years after, I had this opportunity, but I didn't take it because I was at that crossroads of, uh, I was getting out of the army 2 years. Until my buddy came to me and was like, hey, then I'm sitting with an option of they were going to send me to the Netherlands as a mechanic, which is fine, or you get this college education, which is what I signed up for, which took me another year and a half or two. And so I went that route because I came in originally for the money to go to school. So I figured, okay, if they're going to just pay for me to go to school, then I just owe them my time.
Yep.
So, and then when the time was almost up, at that point, I'm at 10 years now. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I'm at 10, I might as well do 20. If
Yep.
I was at 20, I might as well do 25. And then you'll know when it's time to stop. Because I didn't know. I thought I'd still be in. But
Yeah. Wow.
but like my mentor told me, he said, when it's time, you'll know. So they'll know.
Yeah. Yeah. The boots get heavy.
Yes.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. At least
But
that's one of the things my uncle told me.
I wouldn't change any of it. I loved the whole time.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Byron, thank you so much. We're gonna link your property website so people can go in, look
Okay.
at your investment portfolio. I'm sorry, he don't have no vacancies for you right now. You know what I mean?
I
Because
can.
those properties are doing what they're supposed to do, and that's occupied and they're making money. So
Yes.
I'm gonna link all of that, and if it's okay, man, I also want to link your email,
Okay.
because somebody who is watching this video needed to hear everything that you just said and could use a little bit more guidance
Not
moving
a problem.
forward. And I know you, like me and you, we just met not too long ago, but your heart is very apparent, and I know where your heart is, and it's definitely there for the next generation. And I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
you can have a lot to give, and you want to give it away.
Oh yeah. And that's the reason to do this. The reason I do
Yeah.
this. It's not for I'm gonna be okay. However, like I was taught as a kid, it was like your inheritance should be for your children's children. So
Mm.
hopefully this Schwarzman goes for the next two generations.
Well, Byron, thank you, man. Thank you for giving us a few minutes, man. And I know somebody's gonna find this valuable. It's gonna inspire somebody to be bold, take the
And
next step, and do what they got to do.
thank you for having me. Thank you
Man,
for
you're
having
welcome.
this platform. That's how I met you on my computer.
Yep, yep, man. And the computer changed lives these days, man.
Oh,
Internet changes lives.
So, one of the big things that I wanted people to take away from this conversation is where you start is not necessarily where you finish. And being a real estate investor is so attainable. I think he's got 11 properties now. And to me, one of the big reasons why I wanted him on the channel was because it's attainable. He's not a billionaire. He's not somebody that came from a bunch of wealth. Like, he's somebody who started out as a first-time buyer, ended up as an investor. So my name's Stephen Harris. I appreciate you spending some time here. I'm a licensed mortgage loan originator and licensed real estate broker. broker. So if you have any real estate questions at all, drop them in the comments or shoot me an email. Me and my team would love to hear your story. All right, we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.